I'm John, and here's what I'm up to today. I'm giving you another update on the house. We got a lot of stuff done off camera, so I want to show you, and then I'm going to film the next video, which you'll see probably after this. So let's start in the basement. You can see some painting. You already saw a video of this when I took the outlet or light switch from here and brought it over here. We took the cover off to paint. We ran out of paint. We used the paint that we found in the basement. It's just white. So we'll just get some more white paint, and if it's not perfectly exact, we'll probably have to run another coat on a lot of it anyways. So down here, I don't remember what the progress was in the wall on the last video, but it's basically done. I absolutely hate this. I hired out the mud work, and I really regret it. I wish I did that myself because it came out poorly. I'm just gonna leave it though because they did the mudding and they did the texture. I don't want to have to redo all of it. The reason we did a texture is so it matches up with this wall here, which has a texture. The existing is not perfect, but it's something. Closet over here. I haven't put the door up yet. That's probably going to be after we move in because we've got 3 weeks left to be in here. What else? I don't remember if I don't think you saw the basement lights. So before there was one light right about here that was on a switch, and all the other 3 or 4 were on pull chains. So I put these recessed lights up. They're made to go right in the drywall. We don't have drywall, so I put some drywall up there. Ran all these up. These are all on one switch. I still have to do the outlets in here. And in the process of that, I accidentally disconnected the doorbell. So we have no doorbell. There are 2 on the house. So I'm hoping I can reconnect into that. I'm also gonna run a smoke detector up here because the only smoke detector is this battery powered one. And I want something hardline. Now this room, we also added lights. All of these lights I got for work for basically nothing, brand new. But I did go out and purchase this little one, and it's right here because the chest freezer will sit here. I added this outlet, and this is all on its own switch back here. So this outlet I added to be independent from the others. This outlet here was actually labeled in here as chest freezer, and it was the only outlet on the circuit, on that particular breaker. I thought about getting rid of it because you're supposed to only have the chest freezer on its own circuit. I'm just gonna leave it. We're probably never gonna use it, but it's there if we want it. And then I ran wire up and over, and that is where a chest freezer will sit conveniently under this light. You can see we put shelving up in here. This came out of Shopko when they closed. It was their shoe department. And if you hadn't noticed all the mess on the floor, I'm working on plumbing right now. So that's fun. But more on that later. So we ran all of that. This is fun. Well, we'll come back to the plumbing. Let's take a walk upstairs. We haven't done much else down here. We'll take a walk up here. Major electrical work done up here. If you missed the video, I cut this cabinet down to fit the fridge in there. And I built this out so we can put in a dishwasher. That was 2 videos. I mounted the microwave here. And it doesn't look great, but again, if you haven't been following, in about a year or so, we're gonna completely gut and remodel this kitchen anyways. This is a temporary thing. And then it's gonna be vented. That'll sit here and it'll be vented out up there. I didn't put it on all the way, I just set it about where it goes. That's why it looks off. There used to be, right about here on the wall, a wall vent. We're using the ductwork in the attic to tie into that and go up to the roof since the wall vent was cut off. That's why we turned 2 light switches into 1. And before I learned electrical, I actually paid an electrician to put that outlet in there for the microwave. Hanging the microwave was very easy. And I realized after the fact, I wanted to put it tight to the outside of the cabinet. I could have put it in a little bit. There's plenty of room, but at least now we have the option to upgrade to a larger refrigerator. Let's see, did she do the pantry yet? She was talking about redoing the pantry. Well, she put food in it. Where did all this food come from? But other than that, not really anything was done. In here, I put blinds up. They're small, but I put blinds up because this is our only bathroom now. More on that later. And these are what I had laying around. They were brand new. They came on a customer returns pallet. And so I just put them up for now. We'll get bigger ones in later. Garbage can came in. Table was all put together. I was able to get that fixed. This outlet is actually going to be cut off today. That is on its own circuit. I'm gonna tie it in to the ones in here, which are all freshly wired. I rewired half this house. So here's the issue before. There's 3 outlets here that, ignore those, there's one there, one behind the door, and one here. Those 3 were tied in along with this light, the 2 outside tied into that half of the house with the garage and everything. Now these 3 were tied in with both bedrooms, the bathroom, and the hall. That was a problem. So there's 1 outlet in the bathroom. There were 2 outlets in there, so that's 3. There were 3 outlets in this bedroom, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, it was a 15 amp circuit. You can only have 8 outlets on a 15 amp circuit. In addition to that, oh, they came and put flags out. I wonder what the white flag means. That one's new. Well, anyways, in addition to there being 9 outlets, there was also a bathroom light, a bedroom light, a hall light, and another bedroom light with a fan. It's just way too much. And then we added a bathroom fan in there, which I'll show you in a moment. Way too much on that circuit, so I isolated it. Now these 6 outlets are all on their own circuit. I also added these so we can hang a TV. I need to pull the cable up. I know it's crooked. I just cut it small because I just needed a hole there. I didn't actually intend on doing this. I cut a hole for the cable right here. There's a stud right there. I am perfectly on the stud. I couldn't have done that if I tried. I just centered it. So then I cut one here, and that's where the cable was gonna go. But I had no access to that outlet from below. I had to, the basement stairs are behind it, so it's actually covered up behind it and underneath it. So I had to dig in there and pull it over, and I just decided to put an outlet here because I need to put another hole on this side of the stud. So you pull the line over and down to get into the basement. So now we're gonna put the, I think we're gonna still, we might be able to sneak the cable in here even though there's a stud. It's low voltage, so you don't need a box. And then probably here and then one above we'll use for HDMI cables. And then I cut that in because I could. Now, it's not perfect. There's actually a stud behind here for another wall. So I put in the shallowest box I was comfortable with. I didn't want to do the really little shallow boxes. It's all secured well. It's just the cover itself is bendy. And the TV is going to cover it so you won't even see it. And there's an outlet hiding back there. So I added these. So now we've got, was that 7? No, we've got 8 outlets in here. I replaced this light. I wired new wiring to everything. Here I added this. One's, they're not on right now. The power's actually off to the circuit, but one is for the hall here. One is for, we got new lights outside right here. And there were no boxes behind those, so we had to cut in and put boxes behind them. Now the other switch, that's new, is for the recessed lights in here. So that's all redone. And then here's the other switch. It's on a dimmer on this side. I added this. There was no lighting in here. Usually when there's no lighting in a living room, the outlets are on a switch, and they weren't. So I added that. Now we've got lights. It's nice and bright in here. It's amazing. It's currently off because when I cut that box out, I messed up the drywall really bad. So what I actually did is I cut a big hole and put a new sheet of drywall in, and until we still have one more coat of paint, we could probably, I took the outlet off and everything for mudding. We could probably put the paint on now, or the outlet on now, but it comes into this and hits the rest of this room. So anyways, this was all new wiring, all rewired. Then this side of the house was all rewired as well. I did a couple of new things. I pulled all new wire because nothing was grounded, so I wanted to get everything grounded. So I replaced the receptacles and all the wiring within. Very easy to do. Right before I did this, I didn't even know how to change an outlet. Now I can rewire a house and save myself $10,000. I just pulled the wire into the basement, went over the next one, pulled it up. Pulled the wire into the basement, went to the next one, pulled it up. I added a second switch here. So we've got one for the light and one for the fan. Before, there was only one switch, it was for the light, and to operate the fan, you needed to pull the chain. So now that's done. I had to put a patch here because the switch was right here and there's a stud on either side. So in order to put a 2-gang box in, I had to move it over. That wasn't that big of a deal. And because that's down there in the way, I actually ran the wire up here, put a hole in, and went over. Another thing I did, you see a very poorly done patch. We're kind of in a rush right now, so we just said screw it and painted it. There used to be an outlet there. This is gonna be the head of the bed. So I switched it since I was pulling a new wire. Now we've got an outlet on each side of the bed. Much better. We painted the closet and the room in here. I don't remember what all you saw before. Room was painted with paint that we found in the back room at Office Depot. When they closed, my company cleared them out and we found paint. So that's now in here. I was just gonna toss it, but it was the better part of a gallon. Picked these up at IKEA. It's not lined up right because I was reinstalling these shelves. Painted the closet white instead of the ugly green that it was before. Put the shelves back in. Now moving on to the other bedroom. In here, here's what we did. I rewired that outlet, and there's an outlet behind here. All new wiring. Again, light switch up to the light was rewired. New lights because the lights weren't even grounded. I did not put the cover on it. There's a glass cover that goes with it. It's identical to this one, but a little bigger. I ran out of light bulbs, so I left that off. I also added an outlet down here. You can see it's really close to the floor. There was actually a 240 volt plug there. The previous owner had a tanning bed in here. We took that out so we could use the breakers because we don't need 240 in here. Well, since the box was already there, I just added an outlet. What else? I think that's about it in here. We're not painting this closet. We're just leaving it. Now here is the big change. Here's the bathroom. Completely gutted down to the studs. That's just hanging there, by the way. This was an old work box, meaning it was attached to the drywall. All that's down. I put some blocking in here. I put this blocking, and there's one mistake that I made. It's not a big deal. Up, down, up. The reason you do that is so you can get a nail gun in here. If they're right in line like that, you have to toenail them in. Those are in line because the shower niches are going to go right above it. But that was supposed to be below it. It doesn't matter. Here's another crafty thing. This box for the bedroom over here, there was I need to put a box extender on there to make it fit because this is really thick stuff. It's drywall and then plaster. You can kind of see here. This stud was in the way. I couldn't get a box in, so I got a shallow box that wraps around. Isn't that clever? You know, that might be what's stopping me. I bet if I take this piece out, I'm just seeing this now. If I loosen it up or just pull that out, oh, there's another chunk still. And if I can get those chunks out, it might actually straighten out. So, bathroom gutted down to the studs. The reason for this is because the window, you can see where the window was before. You're putting on a show for the neighbors when you take a shower. So we closed this off and put a small window up here. This is the second window we put in. The first one was really crappy and drafty. So now we still have natural light in here, and we're not putting on a show for the neighbors. But there was tile around it, so we just decided to rip the whole thing out. Plumbing, I'm working on today. The toilet and sink I just connected because I ran out of time yesterday and I wanted to turn the water back on, and that was all that was left. The old water hammer, or for water hammer, which is a loud thud that it makes when you turn the water off, you put these on and it stops with that. And I still need to screw this to the wall, but you put those on, and that's, I don't have any examples, but I've got dog ear here, I think they're called. Pipe coming up to it, that sticks off, and pipe going up to the shutoff. We'll do the same thing on the cold. We don't need to do it on the toilet. They used to just have, what they used to do is just an extra pipe going up and it's capped off. This does the same thing, but you can do it with PEX more easily. That's not connected to anything anymore. It used to go up to this light. I rewired all of this. If you look, the wire, 319 to 21, I have to redo all of this. The city inspector said that since we opened this up, the bathroom needs to be on its own dedicated 20 amp circuit. It's currently on a 15 amp circuit with that. But the nice thing is this bathroom is the last thing on that circuit, so I just need to disconnect it from a junction box about there in the basement, and then we'll run from the breaker straight up. So I have some plans. We're gonna keep this outlet here. We're gonna put one down here for a hair dryer and curling iron stuff so it can stay plugged in. We'll have a little holster system next to the vanity. And then, and these are if I'm allowed to. I have to talk to the city and see if I'm even allowed to do this. And then I want to put one in the vanity somewhere. That way we can have toothbrushes and stuff charged, but they're not taking up counter space because it's going to be a small counter. You can see my patch here. Before I even open up the wall, I put these in to attach the patch to. And that fixed that damage. So, Oh, we've got a plumber coming tomorrow. We're going to consider replacing this cast iron stack while the wall's open. I would really like to. But this is way out of my wheelhouse. This thing goes all the way up to the roof and all the way down to the basement floor. Yeah, I think it's probably about 400 pounds. And I don't want to be cutting into this thick cast iron here. I'm going to leave that to the pros, assuming they're not ridiculously expensive. But all the water lines I'm doing myself. This was already done. This tile went up. Look at the date on here. Where is it? Right there, 12/30 of 19. They probably did this about a year and a half ago and then retiled it, and then I ripped it off. We are keeping the tub because it's a really nice cast iron tub, and I'm not taking down the ceiling because I don't need to. I took it all back to the studs. I didn't have to, but I did that because it's that super thick material here. You've got drywall and then plaster over it. Makes it like an inch thick. So that would make it, we're going to extend the tile from the shower across the room. That would make that very difficult. It's just easier to pull it all off and put half-inch stuff on. The ceiling is irrelevant to that, so we're just leaving the ceiling, and we don't need to mess with the attic insulation and everything. I spent enough time crawling in that attic. This is going to get moved right here. That way we've got space if we ever do want to expand it to a third switch or something like that. And I don't like that. That wasn't me. But that's what they did to fit this in here. I might even, just because I don't, well, no, it's not structural, see? It's not even touching the top. If this were structural, I'd probably sister another board on here, but it's not necessary. Here, it was recessed in. They probably had a vanity at some point. There are actually some holes on top. You can't really see in that one. I put this blocking up so we can attach the light. I know this looks terrible. This is just so I can have the light on here before the drywall. It's going to come off. We'll put drywall on, and the drywall will match the thickness of that, not this. And the light will be able to mount right onto that without the use of anchors because there's blocks right behind it. It mounts to the wall, not the box. So that is the bathroom. Let's take a walk out this way. Not really anything else in here. Pulled new wire for those, for this. This was also originally on one of the living room circuits. Now it's isolated on its own dining room circuit with those two outlets and nothing else. This third one is on its own circuit. We need the breaker space for the bathroom, so we're gonna tie that into these outlets, and then we'll have that breaker. This room I didn't really do much with. Brought in some of my collectibles and movies and stuff. This outlet is rewired. Oh, I forgot to put that back in. Shows how often I come in here. This outlet is rewired. It was going to the living room as well. Now this is going to be with the dining room. This room and the dining room on one circuit. Let's take another walk back down to the basement. And I'll show you a couple more things. Then we'll wrap this video up. So this is that stack that I showed you that goes all the way up. Goes up through here, up to the roof. This whole thing, we're gonna, as long as it's not ridiculously expensive, we're gonna have this replaced tomorrow. I'm gonna do electric today, finish the plumbing today, and we'll be ready for inspection. But at the very least, we're gonna go from this collar and this collar up, that's the toilet, and replace those, and we can do the rest at a later date. I had to take some shelves out to get to this. I just tied into the old PEX. My initial plan was literally just to go from the copper lines that were here and replace that until I realized they were 3/8 inch. They're too small, so I just replaced everything. The next thing I'm gonna do is here, the washer and dryer. You can see I ripped all of this out. I'll show you what those water hammers look like if I can find one. This is what they did for water hammer before. You can see the pipe. Oh, we're stuck. So this pipe was on the wall here. You can see it came down and hit the spigot, but there was that to try and reduce water hammer. It's just a pipe with a cap on it. So that is what I'm putting those little nubs on for. So this is gonna be next. I've got shutoffs up here just so I could finish up yesterday and get the power on. I used SharkBites, but we're going to redo that bathroom probably this fall, and we'll replace all the rest of the plumbing. But I do need to do the sink yet. That's the sink, kitchen sink. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just tie in T's right on here with SharkBites for now, and run up, and then go to the sink. That way we can add shutoffs and a dishwasher. But the issue with these, the reason I decided to do this whole run is because these went bad too. Look how much water's in here. This is what leaked out of it, just from dripping. I opened up the faucet, I turned it on just to drain the pipes because it's the lowest faucet in the house. And then I turned it off and it kept dripping. And also these things are not coming off. I was able to pry that one off. I'm gonna have to get a crowbar and pry this one off. But we're gonna put the hookups right there. That's gonna be the next video. And that's about it down here. I still have a little bit of work closing these up. The junction box that I told you is right here. Everything goes into here, and then this wire goes to the bathroom. So we'll just disconnect this wire and then run a new one straight to the panel. And I think that's about it. Let's take a look outside. We haven't done much out there, but I'll show you what the new window looks like out there. So coming out here, you can see I'm putting the Schluter system in the bathroom with two 12-inch niches. There's the underlayment for the floor. Here's my new lawnmower. It's battery powered. Let's see, go outside. So one issue we had is in this shed. I need to get a lock for this, especially when I put my new lawnmower in it. When it would rain along the back wall, it was just soaked. And you can kind of see some rot down there. The reason is because the ground, the dirt and grass actually went above it. So we just dug it out and put some gravel in. And you can kind of see, it's easier to see on this side, the line of how high the dirt was. And that actually really solved the problem. I'm gonna throw some gutters on it because water is running off and going right into here. So if I throw some gutters on it and a downspout back here, we'll be fine. So I did that. And then here is the window replacement. Took the old window out, put the new one, reframed it, put the new one in. I've got some extra of this siding that we're just gonna put up for now, but we're thinking this summer we'll go all new windows and siding. And that's gonna be cheap. I calculated, we're doing the work ourselves. I calculated about $750 for siding and about $2,500 for windows. Just buying the materials, and then we'll do it all ourselves. Might be a little bit more, because there's probably be some flashing, maybe some windows need to be reframed. The bathroom here, the half bath, we're gonna do the same thing with a little window. Corner pieces, edge pieces. We're gonna rewrap the house, or wrap the house. It doesn't have a house wrap currently. So that's basically it. Got a lot of work ahead. But for now, I just need to finish the plumbing, run new electric into the bathroom, and then under here, we're gonna run new water lines. There's no shutoffs down here. And this copper is actually piped right up to the faucet. So I'm gonna replace the faucet. I've already got one. And then we'll run to this. That's gonna be today's job. And then we basically the plumber's gonna come and do that stack tomorrow. Then we wait for the city to come and do their building, electric and plumbing inspections in here. And we'll be ready to cover up this wall and tile. Put in a vanity, put in a toilet, the whole shebang. So that's where we're at with the house now. So I hope you enjoyed this little update. The next video is gonna be another house. I swear, this channel isn't all gonna be house videos or construction videos, but that's just how it's starting because that's what I'm doing right now. And that's what this channel is about, what I'm doing. But the next video is going to be those laundry lines. It's not as simple as you would think, but it's also not as difficult as you would think. So I'm gonna do those in the next video. I'm only filming so much because it's a lot more work to film while doing the work. It's easier just to do the work. I do still need to rewire this half of the house. That's probably gonna happen later this year. I'm not even gonna bother rewiring the kitchen until we open up the walls next year and redo the kitchen. But some other things in here can be rewired. And, oh, the plumbing. I repiped half the house. By the time I've got enough stuff where I can repipe the entire house. I bought all the tools except for my cordless drill. That I already had. I bought all the tools, I bought all the fittings, I bought the shutoffs, I bought everything. Cost me about $650. Everything I showed you so far took me about 2 hours yesterday. I should have the rest done for now in about an hour. And then we'll have the other half of the house this fall sometime when we redo the other bathroom. It'll probably take another 2 hours maybe, if that. So all in is basically a day's work split up over the course of a couple days, a few months apart. It's about a day's work and about $600, and it probably would cost me at least $5,000 to have a plumber come in and do this. Siding, gonna cost $750 for us to do ourselves. And I already got a quote from a siding company, $7,200 for them to do it. Not a huge difference. You know, this all started, I didn't know how to do any of this type of stuff 2 months ago. This all started because I couldn't get a contractor on the phone, and when you do, they'll not show up to appointments. Or like I had a contractor ready to go to install that and the venting, and then he just no-showed on me and stopped returning phone calls. I had a contractor ready to do the bathroom fan. He quoted me like $1,000. Well, the first one quoted me $600. Then he stopped returning phone calls. The second one quoted me $1,000, and then he stopped returning phone calls. You can't get right now. Everybody's doing work, so contractors are so busy they just don't call you back, even if they have an appointment set. So that's fun. The plumbing too. I didn't get a quote. I had a plumbing company come look at everything, and they said, "Yeah, we'll send you an estimate tomorrow." A week later, I said, "Hey, so where's that estimate?" And no response. And so that's just what happens. So I guess you learn very quickly how to do this stuff, and it's not hard. So anyways, that is this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.